figure out who I am. And I was like, fuck. Am I really antisocial? What is going on? Like, I have anxiety. I have more trust issues than a bird. And I'm getting married soon, which is such a weird thing to say. It's so weird. I'm also quite young, only 24. But I feel like this is gonna be... Hey. Hi. Oh, he's biting my lip. Ow. I'm trying to figure out who I am. I've been laying on this floor for 2 hours every day for the past week, trying to gain his trust. And I did it. He left. Right now I'm in Lebanon because Lucas, my fiance, he was actually born here. His whole family is in Lebanon and Spain. He's very, very mixed, like me, multicultural, whatever. And we were thinking, obviously, like, where is the wedding gonna be? What are we gonna do? We both decided on one very important thing, which is we're gonna have a very small wedding. I think this is a great thing. We have gone through a lot of traumatic shit at a very young age, and we realized, like in one of the videos I spoke of, you realize how small your circles really are. And if I'm gonna pay for someone to, it's not even about the money, but if I'm gonna share a very special day in my life with somebody, I want it to be with someone that showed up for me when I needed them, right? You too. So we've been trying to make the list, and in that entire process, I realized how 80% of the list is they're all friends of Lucas. I don't have a maid of honor. I don't have bridesmaids. I have a few friends that I recently made that I would love to invite to my wedding. I don't even know one cousin of mine that I would want them to be at the wedding because I just don't speak to them. And I'm talking about, like, if I want to keep the wedding small and intentional and really filled with people that know me. And I don't have that. I don't have that friend group. I've never really had that friend group. And I was so embarrassed to say it because I started to speak to a lot of Lebanese women and friends of Lucas's mother, their aunts and cousins. Lebanon, it's like Mexico. You have a huge, huge family and everybody is family. And they were all asking me, do you have bridesmaids? Do you know who you're gonna ask to be your bridesmaids? Who's gonna be your maid of honor? And I was like, fuck, I have not even thought about that. I forgot that was a thing. And I felt so awkward telling them that I don't. But here's the thing. There's a thing on the floor. By the way, if you've ever wondered how I get my hair, how I style it, this is it. Once my hair is 90-80% dry, I braid it. This bird is gonna give me scoliosis. I am quitting. I completely forgot what I was saying. The thing here is, it's so easy when weddings come around. You have this pressure to make your friend group big. Or like, what does it mean that you can't even count the amount of people that you're gonna personally invite to a wedding on the top of your hands, like fingers, whatever the phrase is. And I started to feel a little bit shitty, and I was like, wow, like, am I really antisocial? What is going on? Is this a defect that I have? You know, you go in that classical route of thinking. It's so easy to go down that route, and I started to think to myself, like, I have always been that kid that never had friends. And I very honestly responded to the woman that asked me the question, and I told her, you know what, I don't really have a maid of honor and I don't have close friends. I started to make some friendships this year, but unfortunately, I've moved around so many times in my life. I've gone to 8 schools. It's very difficult to create bonds with people if you didn't have that stability growing up, because then it gets to a point where, like, I hope you can relate with this, but you get to a point where you move around so much that you don't even invest into creating friendships because you have this feeling that at the end of the year your parents are going to move again and you're going to have to say goodbye. And it was so painful for me in the beginning. It was so painful. But I guess in a way I always protected myself from having to say goodbye, so I didn't really create deep, meaningful friendships. I didn't care to. And then you have that unfortunate chance of creating friends or knowing people that backstab you in the end of the day. And now you have trust issues. 1 second, he's eating my finger. Cosa fai? Oh, cosa fai? Híjole! That one hurt, as I was saying. Well, I explained this to the woman and she goes, well, that makes perfect sense. But then I started to ask her, because I feel very comfortable with her, and she's like 55. And I was like, but what are people gonna think? Have you ever thought of a bride and saw like that she didn't really have most of her family or friends there and thought that she was weird or maybe a mean person or that people didn't love her? Stupid question, but like, I don't know. In that moment, I was just I was thinking with her freely. I didn't care. And she didn't know what to say. She says, well, it really depends. It's all about reputation then. What is my reputation? I don't fucking know. Is it a good one? I don't know, because I just don't have friends, so I never get the gossip about myself. Maybe that's a great thing, but the entire point of what I'm trying to say is I feel like nowadays, I feel like it's not that bad. Oh my god. Either way, the entire point of why I'm making this video is because it was something that I was deeply insecure about, and it was in my head and I had a dream about all yesterday, because I'm getting to the stage of planning, because I have to. If it was up to me, I would like not even have a wedding, but that's an issue. I should be excited. I'm not gonna fall into the wedding propaganda. I cannot believe the prices and how ridiculous it is. My wedding is gonna be simple. It's gonna be a dinner. It's gonna be a party, and everybody get the fuck out of here. No, I'm joking. I'm probably gonna be like the happiest person at the time that it happens, but I started to get deeply insecure because it's like a massive reflection of the people in your circle. And yes, you're celebrating your love, but if a wedding was actually about love, then it would just be you and the groom. You would elope. Everybody would just have a private ceremony. So then you realize weddings are really just to show wealth. This thing about sharing it with your friends and family members, cute. But like if I had a choice and it was truly for love, they would not fucking be there. Like I have anxiety. My speech, my vows. You think I'm gonna be thinking about how much I love him? No, I'm gonna be thinking about how I don't wanna fuck it up because people are recording. So I have to remind myself, like all this construct of what we think a wedding is, and having a bridesmaid and a maid of honor and all these things, and that these things have been happening for centuries, and marrying off a woman to like get the dowry of the man, or I don't even know what I just said. The point here is I'm very not traditional, and I feel like I fell into the trap of all this thinking, all this marketing, and all these constructs that are just, it doesn't exist. But for 1 second it got me. And then Smart Mila came in this morning, and I had a conversation with Lucas, and I was like, do you think it's weird that I don't have friends? Do you think it's weird that all these things? And he said something that was very smart. He said, well, first of all, right now you're a pretty shitty friend because you're busy. Even Lucas. Yes, I have friends that I speak to once a week because they know I'm just very busy, and my life right now is building Mila Mend and truly focusing on how my community is doing. Like they're my priority right now. Friendships and everything will come later. Startup culture, startup life, you give every hour to your business and your company so it survives. So right now I'm a shitty friend, and that's one thing. And second, this is Lucas though, that's his point of view. Most girls my age that I have had the chance of meeting are so young still. And I know that there's many of you watching that probably feel the same way. You just don't relate to anybody even close to your generation. My oldest friends, like my longest friendships, unfortunately, I moved away. It was my high school tutor. She was 60. That was one of my most incredible friendships, and I learned so much from her. And I love learning from people. And if I'm at a party, I'm directly gonna go to the oldest crowd, usually the crowd that nobody gives a shit about, and they're like neglected. I have always loved to learn about their life and their stories, and I love learning. I love learning from people, and I have found so many of my friendships to be so fruitful when the person was much older than me. But then it gets to a point where like I don't have kids and I don't have grandkids, and there's barriers to everything. There's no such thing as a perfect anything. And I'm gonna cut straight to the point. I always go off tangent. The point here is I had this realization that I still believe I'm gonna make my best friendships when I am 30 years old or much older. Maybe I meet my best friend group tomorrow. Whatever is in my destiny, it is written, it will come. I truly believe that you don't need to have a big friend group. You don't need to have big weddings. You don't have to have a ton of bridesmaids. You don't have to have a maid of honor. If you're getting married, you don't have to follow tradition. So if you find yourself planning for a wedding, I can't believe I'm saying that. It's so weird. But if you find yourself planning for a wedding, planning for a birthday party, planning for whatever freaking event that is special to you or important to you, and your list is, you can't even count the people in your fingers and on your hand, that's not really a bad thing. That's not a bad thing at all. Consider yourself lucky. I truly, truly believe that I'm gonna make my most meaningful relationships when I'm much older, due to the way that I was raised. Please do not shit on me. And also, having health issues makes you grow up quite quickly. It also makes you become more comfortable being in solitude, being by yourself for days on end. And I think that's a great thing. Just don't forget that community is so important for our health. You still need friends. It's key for longevity. It's so important for so many aspects, for our mental health, our body health. So it's very important. So don't deny that. Seek friendships. They will come. Good people will come. Even if they're online friendships, doesn't matter. Nurture that your soul. Have that person to vent to. Even if it's just one person, you're good. Even if it's your family, it's fine. Don't define who you are based on the amount of people that are around you, the amount of people that you can invite. If you're gonna have a best man, a best woman, bridesmaids, whatever the shit or the fuck, just know that at this point in time, honestly, I think that the people that have the least amount of friends, they just know who their people are, and especially if they're very small, they are too fucking cool. And there's something so sexy and so attractive about somebody that knows very well who they are. They know what is good for them, and they're just so secure in their decisions. But this doesn't mean you're closed off. I don't like people that are closed-minded and they're like with their cliques and it's like they're friends, they'll never let anybody in. No, I'm not talking about that, but people that choose quality over quantity. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, there's so much to unpack here, but I think I got my big point out of the way. Do not let any of that propaganda and marketing get into your head. Don't let social media get into your head, ever. If your friends and family around you, they're having massive parties and massive weddings and they all have a lot of friends and you find yourself that you don't, that's fine. Because they're different people. You have different mindsets, different experiences, and you don't have to conform to everybody and be likable by everybody and open yourself up to everybody. Be picky. It's gonna return tenfold later on in your life. Play the long game, always, in every single thing that you do, especially friendships, especially who you choose to marry. I'm engaged, and I finally got to know who my fiance is at the 5-year mark. I don't think he even, like, we're both very young. We met quite young. I was turning 19. He's 27, but I'm 24 now. Again, we've lived through many things, and I truly, truly believe that I started to get to know him around the 3rd year. I'm pretty fucking sure of my decision of spending the rest of my life with him. Pretty damn sure. The long game gives you security, gives you peace, and you truly get to know who people are. So yeah, that is a completely different topic. Let's not get into that unless you guys want me to talk about how I knew he was the one and how I found him and all these things and our relationship. Maybe I'll bring him for the conversation. No, I think it's girl on girl, like girl to girl. That is an important conversation because it was very, again, not traditional, the way that everything happened between me and him. So yeah, I'm gonna try to end this video for the 10th time in a row. I am very, very sorry, but I think by now you guys should know that it's a shit show. Like, there's 20 sentences trying to escape my brain at the same time. Sorry. All right, guys, I love you. I hope you can relate to this video. And if you did, I hope that you feel less alone about the fact that it's totally fine to not have 1,000 friends. All right, ciao. I'm literally getting ready to go to a wedding right now. How comedic is this? And I made the decision this weekend that I'm not getting married. I'm actually not even gonna have a wedding. Maybe I'll have a wedding in 5 years, but I'm gonna get married. I'm gonna elope. Have a little private civil ceremony. Have an insane photo shoot. And maybe in 5 years I'll have a wedding. Maybe I will change my mind after going to this wedding. And the coolest thing is that this wedding is one of you guys that I met when I was in Beirut. This lovely woman named Rhea. She placed an order to ship it to Beirut, and the shipping takes a very long time from the US, and it's very pricey because of taxes and whatever. And I told her, hey, I'm literally hopping on a plane tomorrow. You want 2-day express? I obviously canceled her order and I brought it to her. And I was like, I'd also love to meet you. And we got a coffee. I met her and her fiance, who's like the most loving and supportive man ever. I thought she would show up alone. No, supportive partner. There, they bought me coffee. They obviously didn't have to, but they're so sweet. She told me her story. The most loving couple ever, and they told me their wedding is in a week. Fast forward, it's today. They invited me and Lucas. I love you guys, and I love them. This community is so special. So, life is crazy. Life is crazy, and I love you guys. But yeah, maybe I go to the wedding and I say, wow, it's so beautiful, amazing, maybe I want this. But I'm pretty sure for my situation, for who I am, maybe this wedding will make me say, done, I lived it. No need to do my own. Like, taking a little bit of their magic and just pretending that it's... What am I saying? That is not an... Okay, well, about the bird, he doesn't like me anymore. Doesn't like me anymore. I don't know what happened. But yeah, I'm gonna go to a wedding. Bye.